Hello everyone and welcome back to Obas Trending Gist, and today we've got a political debate bubbling up from Anambra State. Governor Charles Soludo has thrown a curveball promising cash reward for wards won by his party. It has sparked outrage, raising serious questions about vote buying and the future of Nigerian democracy. We will dive into the heart of this controversy and hear from the political analysts who aren't holding back. Stay tuned because this is a conversation you don't want to miss, so sit back and take a watch.
The endorsement of a former Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Tanimu Turaki, SAN, as national chairman of the People's Democratic Party has sparked opposition from camps loyal to ex-Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido and former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. This is ahead of the PDP's national convention scheduled for November 15 and 16 in Ibadan, Oyo State. Speaking on the issue, the Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal, who downplayed the disagreement, assured that efforts were being made to carry all stakeholders along. During the PDP 102nd National Executive Committee meeting held on August 25 in Abuja, the party resolved to zone its 2027 presidential ticket to the south, while the position of national chairman was reserved for the north. Following this decision, northern leaders met over the weekend and further microzoned the chairmanship position to the northwest. On Wednesday, it was revealed that former Kaduna State Governor Ahmed Makarfi, ex-Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, and the former Minister of Special Duties, Turaki, had emerged as the leading contenders for the top seat. Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State says some of the persons who hailed late President Muhammadu Buhari while in office turned around to mock him after he exited power. Buhari, a former head of state, was elected president in 2015 and served 2 terms of 4 years each. Speaking on Sycophancy at the second Raymond Dokbesi Diamond Lecture organized by the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations in Abuja, Sule said he witnessed firsthand how politicians flattered Buhari while he was in office, only to disown him after his exit from power. The governor, who was honored with an NIPR award and fellowship at the event, said he admired the late media mogul, Chief Raymond Dokbesi, for his courage in establishing the country's first private radio and television stations during the military era. Let's move on to Anambra, where Governor Chukwuma Soludo has stirred controversy after announcing cash reward for every ward won by his party, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, in the forthcoming November 8th governorship election. While speaking on Saturday during the party's campaign rally in Umunzi, Orumba South local government area, Soludo promised to give his party supporters 1 million naira. The pledge provoked backlash from opposition parties and civil society organizations, which described the move as open inducement and a gross violation of the Electoral Act. About 2.8 million registered voters are expected to participate in the poll, in which 16 political parties and their candidates will contest the governorship seat. The newly appointed chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Josh Amupiton, had emphasized the significance of the Anambra election in consolidating the country's democracy. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Grand Alliance said on Sunday that Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo's cash reward promise for every ward won by his party in the forthcoming November 8th governorship election is not an act of vote buying, but a strategic move to encourage healthy competition and voter participation across the state. Joining us on Political Brief to discuss these stories is Arise Director of News and Politics Editor, Sumner Sambo. Good morning, Sumner. Another Monday. Great to see you.
Yeah, good morning, Ayo, and other members of the team. Good morning, our viewers.
Okay, Sumner, good morning. I'd just like to make a brief comments on some of the issues raised, and then you can respond. I think that Governor Sule of Nasarawa saying people turned against former President Buhari, I think it's right. Nigerians are professional political sycophants. When you are in the saddle, they will say you are the best. When they see another opportunity, they will turn against you. So Governor Sule is not saying anything new. And that's without prejudice to the fact that President Buhari ran a very poor government. It disappointed a lot of Nigerians. But his specific comment was about politicians and their sycophancy and their opportunism. And I think it's important that Governor Sule is reminding us of how opportunistic Nigerian politicians are. They will say you are great when you are there. When you turn your back or you are no longer there, they will say another thing. That's number one. Number two, as for Governor Soludo of Anambra State, well, I don't know what you think, but he was speaking to members of his political party. I think maybe the error in translation is that he should not have said so, that he will reward any word that delivers for APGA. That can be misinterpreted to mean that, oh, he's speaking to the general electorate in Anambra State. He was speaking, I think, from what I read, to members of his party. Look, in politics, members of your political party, they will expect to be mobilized. They will expect you to give them money for them to even mobilize. Many of them will steal the money anyway. The electorate is part of the problem. Party supporters are part of the problem. So if you get excited, you say, oh, I will give you money if you perform. It can get lost in translation to mean that you are trying to, corrupt the entire process. So maybe Governor Soludo should not have said that publicly. Even if he didn't say publicly, he will still mobilize party chieftains, party members at the ward level. Not all of them will deliver. They will collect the money. They are part of the problem too. And I say this from experience. Now, as for PDP, now today there's going to be the submission of forms, there will be screening, and then by Wednesday, you will have the announcement of the candidate, consensus candidate for the PDP chairmanship, which has been zoned to the Northwest. I have said before you joined us that the calculus at the zonal level does not favor former Governor Sule Lamido. It's not likely. Whether he has collected the form or he's going to get the form today, as of this moment, only one person has collected the form in the party, and that's Saminu Turaki, Kabiru Saminu Turaki, popularly known as KT. And the governors are supporting him. Whoever the governors support will emerge as party chairman at the convention in Ibadan, November 15 to 16. However, do you think, you are the one in Abuja, do you think anything is likely to change, within that space? Those are the three major issues. There was one other topic which I don't remember, but those three, what's your take on those three? And do you think that I'm wrong on some of the things that I've said?
All right. Well, from your submission, you're quite right on the spot, especially on the issues of governors controlling the PDP. And of course, you would have watched the chat we had with FCT Minister Nyesom Wike on Friday, where he actually alluded to all of this, that the governors continue to wield very strong influence in PDP. And of course, we also had to ask him, when it was your own time, didn't you do same? He says so, that they did, wield that big stick, but that whatever worked during their time may no longer be working this time around. So with the PDP seemingly, in quotes, in comatose or going down, no matter what you would want to use, that there needs to be more consensus. And as Minister of FCT, he felt that himself should be consulted. So the idea here is that a whole lot of people are saying that there's no much engagement. And some of the Northwest PDP stakeholders are saying, like Umar Bature, that it looks like an imposition on them of Kabiru Tanemu Turaki by the Northeast governors, specifically Bala Mohammed, who's the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, and then, of course, the chairman of the convention, Committee, Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa State, and then of course the Zamfara State Governor who was at that meeting. Now, Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, is speaking his form today. He insists that there was no full consensus, and people like Ahmad Makarfi, former governor of Kaduna State, is just by the side. He was at that meeting where Turaki was eventually endorsed, but it's left to be seen if indeed this endorsement will go the whole hog, because Sule Lamido too is not someone you can toy around with, and we just hope that they are able to settle all of this. But the major challenge ahead of them is whether PDP will be able to survive all these assaults that are coming from the courts. Don't forget there's still a court case that's ongoing, and then of course you have the state chairman of APGA and all of that took an emo that took the the party to court. And then you have the Samuel Anyanwu case that is before the DSS and police, where he's alleging that his signature was forged. In all of this, we're just hoping that Nigeria's major opposition won't just collapse like a pack of cards, because if that convention doesn't hold, then of course, getting candidates to submit to INEC ahead of next election may be a challenge. Now, coming to the issue that you talked about, all other issues. For APGA, for example, it's a very huge disappointment hearing those kind of narratives from the incumbent governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, because, I mean, just imagine President Bola Tinubu saying that at the national stage. Even if he's addressing his party members, I mean, it will resonate all round.
Yes, so let me come here. Well, just because you mentioned something. Last week, the APC chairman did make such or similar promises, saying that the highest voter numbers registered in wards and local government areas, his was even 20 million naira. Yes, so what's the difference between both of them? If you're saying that, imagine if President Bola, it was already done last week during the APC stakeholders meeting in Lagos State, because if we don't address these issues and actually find out whether this is voter inducement or not, then it's a free-for-all for all parties to come out and be announcing competition around monies they would give to the highest voter registration or voter turnout in particular wards. Should we accept this as normal now?
Well, it's voter inducement ahead of time. This is not just a message to the party members. Yes, it may have been said in a political party forum, but nonetheless, it's a signal that has been sent to others. And that's why the new INEC national chairman needs to do a whole lot of things. The INEC chairman needs to put, the processes in place. And then, of course, the federal lawmakers who are embarking on the electoral reform really need to put this on ground. Because, okay, let's take a look at this now. You are saying that you're only speaking to your party members. Couldn't you have done that without, making it known to the public? We all know that all of this happened. But in reality, as it stands right now, this is a preparation ahead of 2027. And I can tell you that vote buying will play a critical role in the election, because people no longer, the politicians don't believe in the electoral process. They believe in inducement, and these inducements come from this. Because tell me now, even others who are not members of APGA, they will be struggling to see how they can, through the back door, get the governor's support in one way or the other. And what of those who are not in government? And let me ask, some of these monies that have been talked about, are they coming from APGA? Are they going to come from Soludo's pocket? Or they are going to come from the state government's purse? Okay. These are some of the things that we need to be very careful about, because these are the things that make our political process to be underrated by the international community. And at the end of the day, there's a vote of no confidence. And then there will be voter apathy. Yes, the governor says that he was trying to do all of this so that more people will come out to vote compared to last time when there was a low voter turnout. But is this the best way? Don't we have institutions that do all of the? Must you call out money to induce voters to come and vote?
Okay, so I think we should be thanking God that they are unveiling. We are beginning to see them, just like the APC did last week, now APGA. And for INEC that thinks that before it will be, it needs a special agency to be able to enforce electoral offenses, I think these are things for INEC to be able to do. Because if it's a party now that is in opposition that they don't like now, they will quickly go after the political party. So I'm happy that they are all unraveling this way. In fact, I give glory to God that Soludo said it. I didn't think he should not. I'm happy he said it in public. I'm not sure that he should not have said it, so that we know the mind of the people. But thank you so much, Sumner, for your time.
All right. Let us dive deeper into that analysis, drawing out more of the nuances and implications from the discussion. After watching that segment from Arise News, it is clear that Governor Soludo's promise of cash reward for wards won by his party in Anambra has struck a raw nerves. The immediate reaction, as we heard, ranged from outright criticism by opposition parties and civil society organizations who have labeled it open inducement and a gross violation of the Electoral Act, to the defending stance of his own party, the All Progressive Grand Alliance, which spun it as a strategic move to encourage healthy competition and voter participation. Now, let us unpack this. What do you all make of this contrasting view? We heard Abati throw a really insightful question at Sumner, connecting Soludo's action to what he describes as a wilder Nigerian political culture of sycophancy and opportunism. Abati posited that many politicians will praise you when you are in power and then quickly turn against you when a new opportunity arises. Do you agree with this observation? And if so, how does that cycle of self-interest and shifting loyalties impact the kind of leadership and governance Nigerians get? Does it create a system where genuine public service take a backseat to personal or party gain, fueled by these very inducements? I'm keen to hear your thoughts on whether this cultural aspect makes it harder to truly stamp out practices like vote buying. Sumner, in his response, was quite direct, affirming that Soludo's move is indeed voter inducement, and he brought up a crucial point that the APC chairman made similar promise last week, dangling 20 million naira for high voter numbers. This isn't an isolated incident with one party, it suggests a worrying pattern, a systematic issue. Sumner rightly pointed out that if we don't clearly define and address what constitutes vote inducement, legally and ethically, then we risk creating a free-for-all. Imagine every political party openly announcing competition and reward for vote turnout or registration in specific wards or local government areas. What kind of electoral leadership would that create? Would it truly encourage genuine participation, or would it simply commodify the electoral process, turning citizens into mere instruments for vote accumulation rather than active participation in choosing their leaders based on merit and policy? Personally, I find Sumner's stance compelling because it cuts to the heart of the matter, intent versus perception, and the larger impact of democratic legitimacy. Even if the state's intention is to boost turnout among party faithfuls, the public nature of the promise, especially from a sitting governor, inevitably signals to the broader electorate that votes have a price. This is where the lines blur dangerously between legitimate party mobilization and the illegitimate voter inducement. So what I'm trying to say now, for my deeper critical take on this isn't just about a few misplaced words or a tactical error. It exposes a fundamental fragility in Nigeria's democratic foundation when money rather than conviction or policy becomes a primary motivator for political engagement. The entire system is undermined. It shifts the focus away from robust debates on economic stability, security, or infrastructure development towards a transactional model where votes are bartered for immediate, albeit fleeting financial gains. This erosion of trust is incredibly damaging. It fosters voter apathy among those who feel their genuine participation doesn't matter, and it cultivates a cynicism that makes citizens question the very integrity of the electoral outcome. Now, the question then becomes, who pays the price? Ultimately, it is the ordinary Nigerian citizens who are deprived of truly representative governance. Leaders chosen through financially induced promises may feel less accountable to the people and more beholden to the financial mechanism that puts them in power. That is very true. This perpetuates a cycle of poor governance and further disenfranchises the populace, as Sumner alluded to. Institutions like INEC have a monumental task. It is not enough to simply observe. There must be a clear enforceable laws that unequivocally penalize any form of vote inducement regardless of how subtle it's framed. And the federal lawmakers currently engaged in electoral reforms have a moral imperative to strengthen these laws, closing any loopholes that allow such practices to flourish. Looking ahead to 2027 election, if this trend of open inducement continues and goes unchecked, well, we risk a further degradation of the electoral process, money and the ability to distribute it, rather than performance or policy could become the decisive factor pushing Nigeria further away from the democratic ideals it aspires to. It raises serious questions about the nature of the funds being promised. Are these from party coffers or do they subtly bleed into state resource? This is the question we need to ask. Further blurring the lines between party and state, these are the uncomfortable truths we must confront if Nigeria is to build a truly robust and credible democratic future. What are your thoughts on the long-term impact of such practices on Nigerian political landscape? Do you believe, as Abati suggests, that politicians are merely responding to a culture of opportunism, or is there a deeper systematic issue at play? Let me know in the comments below. Now, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Obas Trending Gist for more incisive political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next discussion. Until next time, stay informed and keep the conversation going.